Drugs. So but I do it again. I'm not telling you. Well, I knocked a spoon off their table because, sorry, baby got back.
What all positions have you had in the hospitality industry?
Oh, okay. So I started as a hostess and then I worked in the company's bakery and then I became a server. And then I did quite a bit of cocktailing and then back to being a server. And I worked in like high volume, fine dining, a little bit of a mix.
What was your favorite atmosphere to work in?
I loved to cocktail. I really liked cocktailing at the local house that I worked at in downtown. We had just a really close-knit crew. The food was bomb. You could really showcase and make a nice experience for people. And I made really good, solid money there, like consistent money. I could go pick up shifts, really hustle. So yeah, it was a really good position. I left that to move to Southern California, and I was like, dang, I'm really leaving like a clutch position right now. And then had to kind of, climb the ladder in a new city, get established, try to get out there. And that was a bit of a process.
How many restaurants have you worked in?
I think 6, but I did do like a return at one. I went back like 3 different iterations or instances.
What all types of restaurants have you worked at before?
So I worked at a super high volume, like American restaurant, turn and burn style. And then I worked at a couple of different houses in Seattle that were local but high volume. Moved down to Southern California and I worked at a fancy, very hoity-toity beach and tennis club, and then closed things out at a Italian fine dining house, and everybody there was Italian except for me and one other girl.
What was it like working there?
Hectic, chaotic, fun, learned some Italian, definitely a lot of machismo, like we don't have to get into it, but yeah, it was interesting. A lot of like extra gusto coming from the men there, but then as a woman in the industry, just like showing that you have the knowledge and that you can hold your own, I was able to come up in the rankings there, even though I wasn't Italian.
Did you have fun working there? Was the food good?
I did. The food was so good. Like, unbelievably good. Well, they made all the pasta handmade there. So anything pasta was delightful. And then probably just the specials because they were using what was local and fresh. And there was this wonderful chef that came in. She was a woman chef and she really changed the game there. She wasn't Italian either, but I remember these beautiful risotto cakes that she would make and then topping it with fresh seafood. Nice. Yeah, they had a lovely pappardelle and homemade bread. All the good things. You really couldn't go wrong.
So Italians, I know they're pretty feisty.
Yes, understatement.
Did you ever hear any crazy arguments in the
kitchen? That was constant. Every time that you walked in, it was just ba 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 ba, both sides going back at it. And actually, the cooks were all Mexican, right? Standard. But they would kind of go back and forth. And Italian and Spanish were so similar. And I speak Spanish, and so I could pick up a lot of Italian there pretty easily and be able to understand what they said. But yeah, it was definitely really interesting. And then all the managers were Italian men too. So there was just a lot of male ego that was there. There was a lot of masculine energy, you could say.
But it was fun to be around.
It was still fun. And then we had all these crazy, just awesome private parties that we would do, and that was really fun, being able to just really make an experience for people, have them try something new. And then it would be some type of special event, right? They're celebrating something grand in their lives and you get to make that nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the craziest thing you've ever seen happen during a shift?
Craziest thing.
Yeah.
Well, so two things. I was working, and these are both when I was working at Cheesecake Factory. So always an adventure there. But I was working Sunday brunch during Easter, and we had an earthquake. And so that was a little hectic. Like all the chandeliers were shaking and bottles coming off the walls. And people were still ordering cheesecake, trying to make orders when there was an earthquake. And I was like, hold on, ma'am. I'm going to have to wait a moment to take your order. Like, there's a fucking earthquake right now. So that was one. And then the second, it was actually in the same room, in the same section. A woman brought a monkey into my section, like as if it was like a dog, like her personal pet. It was a monkey. And she told me she had a monkey. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. And then word got around the restaurant that there was a monkey in my section. And she let it out, and it was like eating butter packets and throwing them. And then she tried to put it back in the bag and started making a lot of noise. And then my manager was not happy with me, understatement, underline, bold, because there was a monkey in the restaurant. Like, who brings a monkey in?
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
During the earthquake, you said at that other restaurant, did anything wild happen? Did anyone get hurt?
Nobody got hurt. Like, they evacuated a lot of people, dined and dashed. A lot of people left, right? So everybody's books were off at the end of the day. And then we were just expected to go about our business, like do everything normal after that. And that was kind of crazy too, because you almost have like sea legs, like you've been on a boat, but you're just on ground, right? And then what are these expectations? Like going right back to it, like here's your fries and a side of ranch right after we've had an earthquake. Yeah, it was odd.
What was the biggest tip that you've ever received? Kind of tell me what happened.
I honestly can't remember the biggest tip right now. Like that just doesn't come to mind. But a very memorable and like special tip, I will say, was I had sold this. This was when I was working at a hotel. I had sold this family a bottle of wine. They really liked it. I came up with some, I don't know, they asked me like how the wine made me feel. And I was it's like it gives you a hug, right? Like it's full circle, blah, 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 blah. They ate that shit up. They loved that description. And so they went to this fancy restaurant in Seattle and they came back and it was the same, I don't know, he was like a dad, kind of like maybe grandpa, just like a nice dude. And he was like, oh my gosh, we came back. We wanted a hug. Like that wine was so delightful. And it was so sweet, but we were talking and I had mentioned that I had never gone to the restaurant that they were going to, that I had always wanted to go there. And they brought me back a $100 gift card. So not the biggest tip by any means, but very thoughtful. They brought me back $100 gift card so that I could go there and have my own experience. And I just thought that was so like genuine and thoughtful. And it was people I don't know, right? These are complete strangers, but I had helped them have a really nice experience. And then they did the same for me, which was really cool. Like shows you people, there's still some good in people, right? Like it was just very sweet and wholesome.
Tell me about a guest that just kind of you'll never forget.
Um, sure. So I had this guest that came in and he was visiting from Minnesota and he
Minnesota. Let me
yeah.
hear it.
Minnesota. So I do it again. All right. So now you betcha. All right. So now I can't stop. But he came in from Minnesota and he was telling me about like all these concerts he goes to, all these wild parties, and he wasn't like trying to creep on me or anything. Like, you know, I was cocktailing and that would happen and whatnot. But anyways, he was in town and his girl was with them, and they would go on these adventures in downtown, and they would come and see me at the end of the day and like tell me how it went. So we're all vibing, and he's telling me about how he throws these wicked parties in Minnesota. And he was going to have one the next weekend. And then he invited me to go. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, who just goes with stranger to a party they're throwing in Minnesota? And
Where?
I'm not telling you. In the Midwest. So this guy is that did pretty well for himself apparently, and he paid for me and the guy I was dating at the time to go out there to his house, stay, and they had this crazy wicked party, like all these big bonfires in his backyard. It was like this big party he throws every single year. And I just remember being there and everybody was super kind, right? Like classic Midwest. And thinking to myself, how did I get here? And God, I wouldn't want to know what my mom would think, but how did I get here, right? Like in this moment, in this time. And it was all just like from meeting people by chance, like this person coming into my restaurant and then really being quite generous from an experience perspective. So still a friend of mine, still someone that I see from time to time when he's come into town. But that was probably like one of the craziest, I don't know, experiences that I've had as a human, but also that I met like through serving, right? Like through cocktailing, waiting tables.
Have you ever been serving someone and you could tell it was their first date or they were together, had in a relationship, and it was not a good night?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
I was working Valentine's Day, and that's amateur hour, right? Everyone all night going out, high expectations. And I was working at a nice local seafood fine dining house. We're booked crazy, of course. Everyone's pissed off because it's a long night. And this guy comes in and he makes a whole to-do about how he's going to propose. He's going to propose there at the table. And it's going to be a whole thing. And so he had like told me when he was going to do this, and here's a signal and whatnot. And we prepare the dessert that has the "Will you marry me" on it, and bring everything out. And she was not expecting that, and she was not on board. And then it was just a really awkward situation because everyone in the restaurant's like clapping, super excited, and then like they're not, and it was just very visible. So yeah, it was unfortunate for that gentleman, but and then it was super awkward as like trying to you're like trying to assess the vibe of the table and see how you can make things nice. And there's like really nothing you can do at that point. Like, thank you. Have a good evening. Please give me this table so I can give another round.
Yeah, like you want your free creme brulee for your anniversary?
That's exactly what it was. And I bet that's why they were saying all of this. I'm like, are you even really proposing? Like, is that even a ring?
What is the strangest thing that someone has left behind after dining? Horrible.
I don't even know if it's a good example, but I don't know if it's the strangest thing, but I guess a grand selection and opportunity was I worked at this fine dining supper club, and it would turn into like a club in the evening, right? Like switch over to DJs and cocktails and everything. And so we had coat check at the door, and I was working as a hostess there at the time and would run coat check. And then everyone would get really faded, and like they would come in dressed to the nines to this place, which doesn't really happen in Seattle. Like, let's be fair. But at this club, it was happening. And then people would leave their coats, and, you wait, give some time for lost and found, obviously. But at some point, they're not getting picked up. And Yeah, I scored some nice coats. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that was a pretty sweet deal. So it's not like I was like, trying to pull from coat check or anything like that. Like, they were legit left
Don't give me a
behind.
good reason. Tell me about a shift where something horrible went wrong.
Oh, they would do coke at that club I worked at. And I found a bunch of ecstasy in the bathroom once. Like a whole little like pill container. That place was crazy. I was partying a lot at the time too. Good.
What's the most impressive thing you've seen a coworker pull off, like when they were hella under pressure?
So when I worked at Hotel Monaco, it was a pretty big floor. We would pare down to not having many servers, just, if it got a little bit quiet, but things could still pop up, get super busy. And I remember being pretty new there, working, like still figuring things out. It was an external line too, so they could see everything, right? And then they didn't have heat lamps or anything to keep the food warm. Like, you needed to run your food as soon as possible, like no messing around, no pagers, no call, because everything's visible on the floor, which was really fun to watch, right? They've got like chef's table and everything, which was really cool. But when I started there, I would see these guys just floss the whole section. Like, there'd be one or two of us on the floor, and I was still trying to, like, catch up at the time, like hold my own, whatever. These guys are slinging like so many different steaks, things with giant bones, things I don't even know or how to pronounce at the time. Like, just crazy. And doing it with a level of finesse, like not even blinking an eye or like showing people that they've got like 22 tables or however many it was, but a big ass section.
What was like the biggest steak you seen on there?
So I don't eat meat, which makes it really fun when I was selling steaks. Like, I don't eat beef, but we would have like bone in, like on a shank, like a big, it like almost, yes, it looked like medieval. And yeah, that was a little hard for me. Like, first of all, people are like, so how is it, right? And I'm just lying out of my teeth the whole time, like, oh yeah. I don't even remember what I would fucking say at the time, but got some keywords on how to explain the steak. It's, oh yeah, it's just rich, fatty, falls off the fucking bone, rich in your mouth.
What's one thing that customers do that drive you crazy?
I really despised having to get hot water with lemon when a whole table wants hot water with lemon, and then you're like looking all through the house for enough kettles and having to prepare that, and then you're really just giving them water. You can't even fucking charge for it. It just really bothered me.
Tell me about one of your most meanest Karens.
Karen. Well, there was one time when I was working at that high volume house, and the tables were really close together, and you'd have to kind of like sneak in to be able to talk to the people and take their orders. And this table complained that my booty was in their face and that I knocked a spoon off their table because, sorry, baby got back. And so it just happened. And they ended up complaining really badly. And then they ended up getting their whole table comped, their whole bill comped for it, which was like really infuriating because I just don't get complaints like that, is what I'll say. And so, no. But like, I'm not trying to knock silverware off the table either, but I couldn't help it. But yeah, that was probably the nastiest. Just about like how they went about it. It just wasn't. It didn't need to be that way.
All right, well, tell me something that guests do that you love.
Oh, I like when guests are really open to trying new things and actually want to know your recommendations, and you can like help cultivate a very special experience for them, right? They like put the trust in you. They're like, no, we want to try, I don't know, maybe one appetizer, whatever it is, the mix. And then you get to really like coordinate, recommend to them, and then if it really lands, right? Like if they really like it, I don't know. I think that that's just such a fun way to make an impact and have a lovely experience on both sides, right? Like it's fun from the server's perspective because you know the food, you know the drinks, you know how things pair together. And these people get to try something new and different that they probably wouldn't have normally done.
So, like, as far as like wild rumors or gossip, you never heard
Hmm.
like,
I mean, I think it would always be like internal stuff, like internal, like who's
of
dating
course,
who,
yeah.
who's selling drugs on site, like did someone bring in weed? And I remember one time that it smelled like weed in the break room, and they were like trying to figure out where it was coming from, what locker. Um, but I don't think that that's really a wild rumor. That's just like another day in
Did
the
they,
life.
exactly? Did they
Yeah.
find out
Oh,
who?
I know something that happened. So it wasn't. Oh, maybe I can't tell this. So, one thing that was crazy was there was a rumor about the club that I was working in, that the owners were like taking our tips because the tips were all wonky, our paychecks would be off. You just couldn't like track it down at all. And so that was super shady when one of my teammates left and quit. He got into the wine cellar and stole a bunch of really nice bottles. And then after that, they were like, who did this? Like, where did it happen? And they were checking everyone's bags and everything, trying to find out. Um, and I knew who did it, but we didn't say anything.
Right.
And then a few weeks later, I got to try a really nice bottle of Dom that may or may not have been from that heist a little bit from an unnamed individual. So it just tasted really good, right? Like it was gratifying. It
You're
was
like, oh,
free.
this is why it's $500 a
Right?
shot.
And I'm like, how long have you been dipping into my tips and taking money from us? Right? Like, I will drink that glass and enjoy it. Fucking bitches.
If restaurants inside the kitchen and service area and stuff like that, if they have video cameras where people can see what's really going on, what do you think would surprise people the most?
Probably just how food's handled in general, or maybe just how the kitchen and servers like interact with each other. It's kind of a whole different world in the back of the house. So when I worked at the Italian house, it would be like the waiters yelling at the cooks for particular things. There would just be a lot of friction in the back, like back and forth. And then you'd come out onto the floor and just like save face, like being Switzerland in there, like not showing that anything had happened.
What's one of the grossest things you've seen in a kitchen?
Oh, I know. So there was a sous chef that really liked to fuck with me when I was working at the hotel. And I remember I was out on the floor. There wasn't like a lot of people there or whatever. And they would make family meal and everything, which was super nice to have. But I just remember, I remember him saying, like, put your hand out and close your eyes. And I don't know why I would do that and ever be like, okay, but I did. And he took a pig's foot, like a pig's hoof, and put it on my hand. And then I opened my eyes, and I grew up veggie and I was vegetarian at the time. I don't even think I hadn't tried bacon yet. Like, I crossed the line, right? But at the time I was veggie. So I was super creeped out. And, thinking back, like, that was not cool. But I gave them a good reaction. I definitely gave them the reaction that they were looking for. Mortified.
What is one of the shittiest things you've ever seen a restaurant owner do to their people?
Just not pay their employees, right? Like, I've seen some houses that who knows what's really going on the back end and what they're doing, some shady business,
What
but
do you think they're doing?
drugs.
That's usually it.
Drugs. Yeah, so, like, people are working paycheck to paycheck. They're relying on their tips, and this house just wasn't paying people consistently or fairly. And then on the flip side, you'd see the owners come in with their, like, harem of women and come in, drink, dine, like, have the whole, they have money. They're spending money. They're out there having a good time. And then they're not, just treating their employees with the basic decency of paying them. That's by far the worst. And they were fancy. Like, I'm not talking about just going out. Like, it was very obvious there was money.
Tell me about a time you broke the rules.
When I was cocktailing at a particular house, I would drink when I was working. Like, the whole house did. Like, all the cocktailers did, the bartenders did. It was just kind of the norm. And sometimes we would order happy hour food and then split it off the check and say that someone didn't like it, and then you got it comped, and then you would eat it. And it'd be like crab cakes, like something good.
Tell me about one of the times that you broke a rule at work.
So I smoked pretty openly there too, weed, like during my breaks and whatnot. And then,
what's one of the craziest rules you saw a coworker break?
well, it wasn't a coworker, but it was the owner. And they were having sex in the VIP room. This is when I worked in a club, and they had in this VIP area like little, I don't know, curtain cabanas, and the curtain cabana was closed, and it was still a really busy night, and the owner's brother was in there with, I don't know, we just called them like their harem girls. Like, they would just come in with multiple fancy women. So that was a little wild, like that happening during service and during like standard hours.
Have you ever had the police involved with anything at any one of your jobs?
Well, I don't know if it's the police, but I worked at a house that got like raided from an immigration perspective, and we lost a bunch of the cooks because they were undocumented. So, that sucked. Like, these guys are just really working hard. Most of them are sending money back.
What do you like most about serving?
I like the flexibility that I have just as an individual, right? Like, I can control my schedule. I can pick up shifts as I need. So I have like control of my money in that way. And then I really like making like a special experience for someone. Like, if there is a couple that's coming in and you're able to recommend a nice dish or make something special for them, like, that's just a nice feeling to be a part of that.
Have you ever seen a fight break out at work? Whether it be employees, a guest?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Especially when I worked at the nightclub. You'd see people get really, really rowdy. And then I remember one time, like, fight broke up out. Some guy rolled up with a bat. Then there was cops, like super, super chaotic. And then leaving from there, it's like I've got to walk home by this, like cringy.
Have you ever hooked up with anyone at work? Like at work while on the clock?
Oh, while on the clock, I did have a really good makeout session in a liquor room once. So, a tiny little room that only a few people have keys to, putting away some bottles. Had been some, I don't know, good exchanges with the individual, and then you're flirting. It's just, there's been some good sexual tension that's been building for a while. Like back against the wall, good makeout, nice intensity, not too long. Then you got to put yourself together, go out at different times, not make it obvious. So yeah, that was a good time.
What do you like most about serving overall?
I love trying different foods. I love just getting exposed to different items, wines, drinks. I don't know, just that whole experience that I wouldn't normally have access to. And then I think just the people. You meet some amazing people in the industry and can go into any house and just have a good vibe, have a good connection. And then I really like the flexibility. Like I love having that with my schedule. I love that I can pick up shifts, get rid of them as I need. Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, well, yeah, I like the money. I like having cash on hand. I like being able to hustle with a particular goal in mind too. Like, how much can I sell? Or this is my goal of what I want to make in the evening and seeing if I can beat that. And it's cash that couldn't compare to a lot of different work that I've been involved with. Even, you know, having a degree, going to school, I was still making better money waiting tables. And oh, that hurt my mother's heart at the time. But yeah, super crazy. It just depends on, like, all the things have to align, right? The stars have to align. You've got to be in a good house, have a good section, get the right guests, know the menu. Then you're in control.
What is one of the worst experiences you can remember?
I worked at this Mexican restaurant that was in a mall for a short period of time. And it was kind of like an upscale Mexican restaurant. But I remember starting there and they had the big, like, trays that you had to carry and they would stack them up really high. And I just remember having to carry those trays and I dropped a couple of them, and then because the floors were really slick there. And so that was an awful experience. Like, here I've wasted a bunch of food. I fell, all this shit's everywhere. And just a super high volume, crazy place. I did not stay there very long.
What is some advice you would give someone just entering into the hospitality industry?
Ooh. Don't do drugs. Be careful with your cash because it's really easy to spend cash, right? So, like, make your money your prisoner and hold on to your cash. And then it's really easy to get jaded, I think. Like, day in, day out, you know, not every day is glamorous. Not every day is a good day. And I would say, like, having a bad experience one night and then assuming it's going to be like that again just by certain people, whatever, like, not holding on to that, like, not letting that really get to you. Because it's not worth it, right? Like, they may have had a bad day. They may just be a shitty person. Who knows? But that's not on you. That's not on you to carry. But you see some servers that, you know, they are in the weeds. They're angry all the time, not liking their life, not taking care of their bodies. And looking ragged, and you don't have to be that way. Like, you can still go in, you can be professional, you can take care of yourself, make your money. Um, so yeah, that's what I would recommend, the long and the short.
What is your favorite dish at your favorite restaurant?
So there's this place I really like to go to. It's right on the water. You can see all the boats and sit by the windows. Just have this lovely experience. And I went there and like coursed out a few things. So got to try just like the best fresh, crispy calamari, like just the right amount of breading. And then we coursed things out and like didn't hold back either. So coursed out multiple entrees, and one that I really remember was just this beautiful halibut, like cooked just right, falls apart, just beautiful piece of fish. And then it sat on top of like this risotto cake, all happy. And then it had like fresh veg around, a really yummy sauce. And we had this beautiful wine with it. It was just the combination of things like stellar company, great views, bomb fish, good wine, all the things.
What really breaks your heart as a server nowadays? Like,
So I'd say walking up to a table and everybody's just on their phone the whole time. Like, even a date, you see two people getting together and they're just on their phones nonstop. No human interaction, no eye contact, no vibes, nothing. Like, it's very sterile. I don't know, it's just kind of sad. I think people should really like put down their phone. You don't always have to take a picture of everything that you eat, right? Just like enjoy the experience, the person that you're out with. It's just fortunate, right? It seems like a loss. Like, why are you going out and spending this money if you're not even going to interact or like be present?
this isn't about having the coolest story, the most crazy experience. I want people to truly understand just what it's like in your version of being a server.